Greetings and welcome to Live Your Song, building businesses that make a difference. My name is Cheyenne Kramer. I'm here with my better half,
Don Kramer. Hello, everyone.
and we are excited today to be able to introduce you all to a gal that we just had the opportunity to connect with very recently. Facebook can be a wonderful connecting point. If I know some people aren't excited about Facebook. There's a lot of junk that goes out on Facebook. We know that's true. But I want you to know right here and now that there are some high quality people that are still hanging out on Facebook. And if you're not taking the time to go looking around and find some of them, you're the one who's missing out. So today, I'm going to let my darling husband introduce Ms. Marshelle Woodland. Take it away, honey.
Thank you. Marshelle, comedian Miss Woodland, grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. I love that. She has been developing her comedic art since the mid-1980s. As a college student at Southeast Missouri State University, SEMO, Miss Woody was inspired to make people laugh by Cedric the Entertainer. Good job there. Cedric used her as a subject in his stand-up act. After that, she knew she had to take her talent to the stage. Miss Woody's main focus is the need of the community members to encourage and support each other. She often is fundraising for charities, passing out water in extreme heat to the homeless, or driving her kids to school events. Miss Woody is also focused on making Midwest Show Me Funny entertainment, the first venture incorporating multiple promoters for a single purpose. This will help those organizations making a positive impact in the communities. Miss Woody elaborates, when you are laughing, you forget your troubles and your pain. It's always better to support people who are there for the greater good. And I agree 1000%.
Absolutely. So welcome, Ms. Woody. Thank you for being with us today.
I am honored to be a part of this interview. I'm so thankful to know you all.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we are equally thankful for
Yes.
sure. So we definitely would love for you to start by telling our listeners, our viewers, just a little bit about your background.
Yes.
What has happened in your past that has led you to this incredible vision that you're working with to be able to use your current skills and talents to help raise funds to do much good?
Well, first of all, just like any average working person, I worked a job that I love. I started at a young age. Actually, after I left college, I couldn't finish college because I had a young daughter and I was studying electrical engineering and law.
Wow.
Yes, those early morning calculus classes was kicking my butt, but also the fact that it was costly, um, paying for child care to finish school, and I didn't really have the support of her dad like I wanted to. And my mom was doing as much as she could to help me stay in school because I was basically the first one uh, in my immediate family to go to college, but I couldn't finish. But anyway, came home, started working for the Postal Service, also drove for our transit company, and I did both of those jobs for like 10 years. And I
Wow.
left the transit job just to focus on the Postal Service job because I knew that I could, scale up working for the Postal Service, and my eye was on being a postal inspector. But anyway, uh, my situations happened. Ended up with a work-related injury that took a turn to the worst, um, and fighting for what happened to me on the job. Ended up in an altercation with a supervisor because of filing that workman's comp claim, and she ended up sticking me in the eye with an pen. And that led to a long fight for justice behind that, depression, several suicide attempts. And it was a really good therapist who talked me into getting back into what I loved, which was comedy. It helped get me through that process. And that's what helped me. I knew that loving comedy and making people laugh and me wanting to change how I was feeling as a person. I didn't want to be that way. I always wanted to make people laugh. So now I'm using it to make a difference, especially because I wasn't mentally prepared or financially prepared for what happened to me. I
Mhm.
didn't have multiple streams of income. I knew that I wasn't the type of person that was always looking for the handout. I wanted to get back to being me. I was a giver. I was a person who shared and embraced love. And this is why I'm on this huge mission to help more families get out of homelessness and using comedy to do it.
Oh, I love that. That's
Yes, definitely.
amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us just a little bit more about that situation with Cedric the Entertainer. I bet that must
Well,
have been an amazing
when I get a chance to encounter Cedric, I would hope he would remember me. I know his manager does because I went to SEMO with not only Cedric the Entertainer but also his manager, a gentleman by the name of Eric Rome, and I know Eric remembers me because we hung out a lot. But Cedric was so funny. You know, when we would travel like from St. Louis to SEMO, which was in Cape Girardeau, we would go to some of his comedy events, and I was no longer at SEMO when he was getting at me when he was on stage. But he knew that I was a bus driver and also a mail lady, and he used to call me the bus driving mail lady. So hopefully he will remember me for that. Because they knew they would see me in a postal uniform or they'll see me in a metro, well, at the time it was called Bi-State. It's still Bi-State Development, but they would see me in a bus driving, and I had a lot of kids. So they was like, where do you have time to have all these children? I have 9 children, by the way.
oh my
So,
word.
yeah, so I was having children. People was like, how do you have time to do all this? And I was like, well, okay, I don't want to get into that joke right now. He used me, and I remember saying, "This is what I love." I fell in love with comedy when I was a little kid, watching Carol Burnett and Flip Wilson, and I used to love the, like how they would do the little comic acts on stage and use props. But I always had a love for that, but I didn't really want to enter into the stand-up comedy until Cedric did that to me, and I was like, wait a minute, I can do that. One day I'm gonna get him back. But yeah, that's where the desire to actually take the stage came from. But I had always been a lover of comedy. Matter of fact, I used it as a kid to get bullies off of me, and then I started using it as a way to get bullies off of friends of mine. So we would do the jokes back and forth, but then we would just make each other laugh and then just laugh it off. So I ended up getting a lot of friends that way. Being a
Wow.
comedian.
Wow.
Mm.
See, oh man, I could imagine.
Mhm.
Have you ever put together a program about bullying relating to comedy?
Well, not so much to say putting together a program, but I titled my story, my documentary, "The Day I Almost Went Postal." And people laugh when I introduce the title, right?
Yeah.
That's how I get their attention because it's like, okay, you will laugh at the title of the story, but now I want you to check out how I'm going to use this as an opportunity to inform you, educate you, because I feel like businesses should bring in like motivational type of speakers
Mhm.
and talk about things that can quickly turn bad if you
Mm.
don't use it as a way to turn it in another direction.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm taking that story and I'm also writing it as a stage play. I already wrote it as a stage play, but I'm working on the rewrites with another person who's helping me write. But then the flip side of telling my story, I'm creating it as a comedy movie called Certified Crazy.
Like crazy. I love it.
Yes, yes. But I do have some ideas on what you were just talking about on how I can use that as a model to also create humorous types of projects help people, because we
Yeah,
need
well,
laughter.
we do.
Humanity
But
needs it.
to me, what you said though about using the laughter as a way to deter the whole bullying thing, that to me would be such a powerful talk for you to be giving in schools.
Yes,
Because
I'm
so,
actually looking to get my certification through the what's called majority women's women in business, and
hmm.
I just signed up for a workshop so that I can get certified to be able to do that.
Well, that would be awesome because I know a lot of schools in our area, you don't even have to be certified in anything to go in and talk. But I mean, your story sounds so powerful. I expect there's a lot of youth that would resonate with it. And Lord knows these kids need help at knowing how to deal with this bullying. We're losing too many of them to suicide because of it.
Oh yeah, I'm actually trying to get into the schools with my other business called Say It on a Button. I use that as a way to fundraise for my cause, and I created a button with a heart on it that says, um, uh, "What did that button say?" It's right in my head. Oh, it says, um, "Oh my goodness." I created three of them, but I'm trying to. I really want to point on the one that has the heart on it. It says, "Be kind, spread love, not hate." Something to that effect. I have to go and get it because I've got so many designs over the years. I started it in 2014, and I don't know, maybe we have like 50 or 60 designs.
Wow,
But I would
wow.
see people, and they would like that button. I said, well, I hope I can get the schools to get behind it for an anti-bullying campaign that I can
Absolutely.
use to not only spread the word but raise funds as well. Because everything I do is about the end homeless mission. Everything.
I gotcha. Well, tell everybody a little bit about some of the events and stuff that you have put together. You've done some pretty darn big events involving comedy, it would seem.
Well, I've done some big events, but up to this date, I can honestly say it has not been profitable. But I I achieved it. I did it,
Hmm.
and to me, that is a form of success. It
Yes.
was financially successful, but it's room for improvement with help, and that's what I like about what you all are doing. You're trying to bring in the people to help. One of the ideas that I did that I'm actually currently working on improving this event. I started it in 2010, and it was a comedy festival, a comedy competition, but geared to raise funds for various causes. And
Hmm.
when I did the first one in 2010, I donated some funds to a women's safe house called Women's Safe House here in St. Louis. And then it was another business called Family Resource Center, and one of the programs that they had was under a young lady who was helping young mothers. So that we went toward her program, and I found out about that program by being a cab driver. I had so many jobs, you all, and we would pick up the young ladies on a voucher and take them to like an evening of getting together, networking, talking about young motherhood. And then when we picked the young ladies up in the cab with this voucher, they would have like Pampers, baby clothing, maybe food vouchers. So they really have a really good system to help the young mothers through that program. And it would be wonderful to be able to connect with other organizations that are doing things like this, which leads me to tell you uh, that was one of the main reasons of doing the event as a fundraiser.
Hmm.
But working everything out as a for-profit business, I had to eventually start my own nonprofit, which is how End Homeless Mission came about, so that I can use the for-profit business to support my own nonprofit. But I wanted to do it in a way that other businesses can benefit from it. But
Hmm.
Need those puzzle pieces. Yes.
Absolutely. We're into building the super puzzles, right?
Yes. And then there's another event that I created last year, and I wanted to try to do it again this year, but it's looking like I may not be able to do it. But it's called a rent party. Basically, what a rent party is, in our community, we would do like a little house gathering where people would come and pay like $1 or $2 to help. It kind of like started back in my mom's them days. They would do little rent parties to raise money to help somebody so they wouldn't get evicted. Okay, so having rent parties, um, basically will be selling a ticket, a raffle ticket, and everyone who purchased a ticket come to the party. There'll be some entertainment, and then we raffle off uh, the money that we raise from the ticket sales to help somebody in little increments, like $100 here, $200 here, $300 here, and that's how I did the rent party last year. And I gave away like $50 gift cards to for Quick Trip, and I really want to grow that to be a huge event. So we're giving away, funds, and it's a way for me to get clients
Hmm.
into. And the whole goal of In Homeless Mission is to not have the clients coming back. The goal is to turn the clients into donors or volunteers. So
Hmm.
if we help you come up, then we ask you to come back and help us help somebody else come up.
Pay it forward.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So it's not surprising that we got connected because, that's very much the same kind of philosophy Don and I are working with. I
Yes.
mean, Don grew up in poverty himself and was told by everybody around him that he would never be able to do anything of great value. But he built a business and ran it out of our home for 15 years and made over 100,000 a year. So, you
Yes.
know,
Well,
he's
I was told the same thing when I had a child in high school, that I was blowing my future goals having a child so early. I didn't have my next child until I got married almost 5 years later, but I didn't let that. I didn't let that. No, I don't care what you're going through. You have the ability, unless you are flat on your back and you can't move, you can't do anything. You're just totally incapacitated. You have the ability to do. You have the ability
absolutely,
to do.
absolutely.
Yes.
So go ahead and if you're willing, please share your big vision about what you're wanting to do. I know that you are really working hard to pull together a lot of different people. You want to do this fundraising thing in a big way. So tell us more about that.
I'm always excited to talk about my huge idea, which is a Guinness World Record attempt. It's actually part of the comedy festival. It's like the grand finale event, and that is to fill our Dome Stadium here in St. Louis. And doing this event could create a domino effect in other cities that have major uh, stadiums in which organizations can come together and fundraise,
Mm-hmm.
and share those funds. When you look at the major events like baseball, football, hockey, soccer, when you see all the people that gather in these huge arenas, these huge stadiums, they're making multiple millions of dollars in a day. When you think about the food that's sold, the drinks that's sold, all of the promotional items that's sold, that's a lot of money.
Wow.
I've been good on numbers. I love numbers. And I saw this as, what if 1%, 1 to 5% of that money that's made in a day at all of these major venues across the country would just say, hey, we're going to give 5%, 1% of our sales in this day to help a few families get on their feet. And let's get these families in position so that they too can come and support us.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of these families can't even afford to visit these attractions or any of these major entertainment venues because they can't afford. They just simply can't afford it. I mean, the price of the food alone, you know, it could you'll be probably spending close to $100, you know, buying food for just your family members that are with you.
That's true. That's true. And you know, it's interesting to me again. There's so many, you know, you're finding kindred spirits when you find people who have such similar visions and just trying to figure out the ways to put the pieces together to make them happen. Because I've had visions for years now, ever since Hurricane Katrina happened in New Orleans. I have had visions that there should be a very similar kind of event there because you've got the Superdome, you've got the convention center, all of those things that are there. And a lot of the vision that I've been carrying, I'm not into comedy, so I wouldn't have that piece of the puzzle. That's your piece. My piece is about making it along with whatever kind of entertainment you're doing. Now, of course, I'm big into country music, so I can imagine country music.
It could be in any entertainment.
Exactly.
That's why I was reaching out to a lot of the promoters to come together. And I first started trying to get the comedians to come together, and it was like a waste of time because most of the comedians want to stage. They want to be the center of attention.
Yes.
So my consultant was like, you're gonna have to make up your mind. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna be a comedian or are you gonna be a promoter? Right. So I had to put the comedian to the side because I said to him, I can do both, and I figured out a way to do both actually. Because once I pull off this Guinness World Record attempt with the help of everyone that comes on board, I will be standing up to do comedy for an hour to break that record.
Wow. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Well, the other component that I see being part of an event like this is having, because everything we're doing is all about, and I can tell you're in the same space, it's all about helping more people break out of the poverty trap, get to self-sustainability. And so in these events, I've always seen having bunches of people with different kinds of, you know, like home-based business opportunities and things like that, so that you can also be introducing people to all these different ways of building the multiple streams of income. You know, we all know that's an important part of the equation these days.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because part of the event includes having hundreds of vendors. And that's part of the comedy festival, where the vendors can come in if they have merchandise to sell, services. Maybe they want to do some meet and greets, because I wanted to have maybe 100 to 200 spaces available for some of our online really funny people, comedians that may not necessarily do the online stuff, but maybe veterans in the industry, various hosts and other entertainers. And just like you said, you love country music. Doing this in our city here in St. Louis is really a good fit, because the citizens of the city and the county are paying for the St. Louis Dome. And since the Rams left, it's been an issue with getting enough events there. And I'm telling you, I've been on street corners with signs, big signs on my tent, and people have been saying, that's a really good idea. Let's use this building to raise funds for our community issues. And when I started putting those signs up, people were like taking pictures, and I've been trying to get in the local news. I was able to get one interview about the rent party that I had what I was trying to do this year, but I ended up canceling. But I wanted to actually be interviewed about the idea, more time to really lay out the idea and how so many nonprofit organizations can benefit from it. It's kind of like, you heard of United Way, right?
Yep.
Okay. United Way, yesterday, they did what's called, what did they call? Old Newsboy Day. And they used to bring out a lot of celebrities. I guess it was getting kind of costly for them to bring out the celebrities. So now I guess they're just using a lot of the regular people. But they've been doing it for I don't know how many years. Oh, many, many years.
Mhm.
And I try to get other organizations to come out and do the same thing, and that I would provide like this button, like what I have on here now is one of my son. He's in college, plays for Florida Tech. Well, this is he's done playing. This is senior year. He's going to graduate. But anyway, I make these buttons, and I was willing to give the promotional items out for other organizations to do fundraising with the items, and we go out in the community and hit up these corners, get our little $13 permits or $35 permit or whatever the permit in the area that you're in would cost you, and fundraise on those corners. United Way does this every year, the week before Thanksgiving, and they're making anywhere between, I want to say, two, three, to maybe $400,000 or $500,000.
Wow. Wow.
Right. They take up as many intersections as they possibly can.
I
They
got you.
raise these funds. They say they raise these funds for the nonprofits that support like the young kids, the youth, and things of that nature. But you better believe, with that organization being so big, they're
Mhm.
not getting that much money.
Yeah, that's the problem. And there's an awful lot of politics that go into some of those real big nonprofits as well,
Yes,
which
yes,
it just kind of, and we've heard this a lot here locally too. There's a lot of folks who are just frustrated that they feel like a lot of the money in some of these bigger nonprofits goes to big salaries for the people who are running them and things.
exactly. They're
And
too big. They're getting too big.
they're
I mean,
getting too big and too
it's just too big.
political.
Yes,
So, and
exactly.
I love the fact that you're planting those seeds all over in people's minds about what to do with an existing facility, because that's
Mhm.
kind of what we're doing here in the Raleigh area as well. We're getting ready this afternoon. Miss Melanie and Kai and all of us are putting together a proposal to put in front of the Raleigh City Council, because we have this property here that they're trying to make it into a central park. And the problem with that is twofold. One, it's very close to the part of our city where a lot of our low income folks have been, and they're starting to be driven out. And then
Yeah,
it's
that's been happening. It's been happening a lot.
everywhere.
And
Yeah,
it's like, where do you
every.
go? You can't afford to go to the right. You can barely afford to go to the left. And a lot
Yep,
of people are moving into hotels and motels, and now the hotels and motels are price gouging. The storage facilities are price gouging,
yep,
and the people are ending up on the streets.
yep, exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing that we're talking about, though, again, it goes back to these existing facilities, that it's like, why would you want to get rid of and mow down 42 buildings that could be used to house some people, to be able to do vocational training, entrepreneurial training, help these people get on their feet where they can compete in this new economy instead of being driven out by it? They want to knock all these buildings down and just turn it into a fancy park. And it's like, well, you still got 300 acres there. You can have your fancy park, but keep those buildings and use them to help lift more people up. That's what we're getting ready to put in front of our city council here.
Well, I'll tell you what happened here in St. Louis. There's a gentleman who started buying up a lot of property in the poorest neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and sat on that property for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've started, clearing everything out. It was actually, part of it was like the old Pure Igo site, and it was supposed to be one of the sites that they kind of like used as an experiment to like, put a lot of poor black people in this one huge high-rise building, and it was a lot of crime and like, people got killed. But anyway, they ended up tearing it down, and that property sat for decades. And then all of the housing communities around that property, someone was buying it up, buying it up, buying it up, and people was noticing that this one gentleman was buying up all this property, and they took him to court. But what ended up happening is uh, defense mapping for all of that property. So that man made out real big selling all that property to defense mapping, and it's right in the downtown area. So anybody that live downtown is they're getting pushed out, like to the county, and what's done is done, but all we can do is just focus on what we can do to make things better now. You know what I mean? So when somebody has a lot of money and a lot of power, it's hard for the little ant to take on that big old cockroach. But we know the little bitty ant is very powerful.
Ants are actually very powerful, but the
Yes, the
problem
little ant is
when
very,
they
very
come
powerful.
together.
Yes, and that's how I kind of like seen myself over the years. I said, okay, you all, I'm growing. But that's my desire to use my connections in the industry and raise millions of dollars and then reinvest that money right back to the people so that they too can have an opportunity to build wealth, especially generational wealth. And that's what we need. We need more. We really need way more multimillionaires and billionaires than we have. I mean,
That's right. That's right. And there's plenty out there to be gotten. It's just we got to give everybody a support structure that allows them to be able to learn and to be able to grow. That's
and they need money. They need money. And that's the hardest part.
Yep.
You have a lot of the well-knowns that give, but when they give, they keep giving to those who are already wealthy. You know what I mean? And when you give like $5-10 million to one major organization, it's just not going to reach the people in the way it should reach the people. And I've always had a vision to do this.
Yep.
The first $2 million to $2 million, I want to get out and say, hey, I'm going to pay someone to help you. If we have 500 web developers, right? And we pay all those web developers to help all of these little bitty entrepreneurs who don't know how to build a website, who's frustrated with building a website, who don't know the ins and outs to actually get their business out there more, that we hire the professionals. So basically we're investing in the person who knows how to do what they do and investing in the person who don't know how to do what they're doing. And that's been my vision, to do that,
Well, and that's very similar to us, because you've already described the fact that you have a hybrid business model, which we call a social enterprise. You've got the for-profit stuff and you've got the nonprofit stuff. Well, we've never created a nonprofit. We just do it all under our for-profit umbrella as a social enterprise. But we have a separate division we created where as we bring money in through product sales into our for-profit business, then we can transfer some of that money into our We Care Partnerships division and be able to do exactly what you just said. Pay people to be able to go out and teach these folks that need to be taught how to do these things.
Exactly.
So, that way the money that comes in that gets transferred over there, it's still a tax write-off because we're spending it as part of our business as, paying people to provide service. So that's what we found was for a lot of what we want to do, we didn't even really have to have the nonprofit piece to do it, as long as you're building multiple income streams, right?
Exactly. And that was, I mean, the first vision that the Almighty gave me was to fill this stadium. And then I got a vision to fill multiple stadiums. And that's how I came up with the comedy festival collaboration idea. Is bringing others that are promoters, but also do it for the cause that they want to stand up for. So if you are someone who is passionate about animal rights, or maybe cancer, or autism, you can do it for that cause. And with me and others in my industry who know a lot of well-known comedians, there are well over 200 some, probably 300 some thousand comedians now.
Wow.
Okay? So that means if we're doing these comedy festivals as a collaboration, that means all of these headlining comedians have a job. They not really a job, but they're booked to host or feature. And just like you said with country music, It's pretty much the same.
Yep.
You know, it could be country music. It could be even the gaming system now. The gamers, those people that play those video games.
Oh Lord, yes.
Oh, yes. You got tractor pulls. You got there was a convention the other day for bugs, insects, bugs.
Bugs.
How
Okay.
many people was down there to see bugs? I said, look at all these people here to see these bugs.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
just saying.
That's
It's
a hoot.
entertainment. And we have so many ways to use it to spread to help more people.
Yeah.
This United States we shouldn't have nobody suffering in this country.
We shouldn't.
We
Nope.
shouldn't have I mean this no.
No, we shouldn't. I agree. Well, dear, did you have any final questions for Ms. Woody today?
No, I think what she's doing is dynamite.
Absolutely.
And really glad to hear about.
Thank you. Well, I can tell you all this. It took me 7 years to create this proposal and submit it to Explore St. Louis, and I'm scrambling trying to raise the down payment money to lock in the date, and they gave me the 4th of July weekend.
Wow.
So if I was able to get someone to handle finding the vendors, just finding the vendors alone would cover majority of the cost.
Wow.
Just for renting the building.
Wow.
Okay. That's when once we lock in the date, that's when those sponsors want to know who's renting the building, so they can find out, how can we give some money to put our brand out there. But I'm not an expert at putting huge events like this together, but I have done a multiple day event. And I know that I need somebody to help find the talent, somebody to handle the marketing, things of that nature, and getting the sponsors to cover the cost so we can pay people to do it. But I'm telling you, we have people that can actually come together to do it. And when they write that big check for that sponsorship, everybody get paid. Everybody.
There you go. There you go. I love it.
Oh.
Well, my dear, I would love it. Can you give our folks some ideas about how they can reach out to you if they wanted to do that?
That's important. Yes.
Yes. I plaster my phone number everywhere. And people wait, you giving out your personal number? Well, my personal number is also my business number as well. So my phone number, I like phone calls. I really like to talk. But my phone number is 314-243-6034. 314-243-6034. That's my direct phone number. My email address is simply my name, MarshelleWoodland@gmail.com, if you want to reach me that way. But I'm telling you, people will check out a text message and answer the phone before they check those emails. Sometimes I go days before I check my emails, but I'm telling you, ain't nothing like having somebody's phone number where you can pick that phone. They keep these phones in their hand.
That's true. You got it.
Yes. But I did check out your interview, and I love that interview with you and Leon Isaac Kennedy. I remember talking to him briefly many years ago, and I love the fact that he has a passion for helping to end homelessness as well. And I want to connect with any and every person that I possibly can that wants to bring something to the table, because it took me years to get these venues lined up, and I don't want to lose this opportunity, because if I give up, somebody is going to take this idea and they're going to run with it, but they're not going to do what I see and I envision to be done with all of that money,
I gotcha.
We must do this and get some people to come and join. And I don't know if you're willing to do that, but doing a Zoom live and getting invites for people can share and say, hey, I can do this. Hey, I have the ability to do that. Oh, I have experience in doing this. And social media,
It's true. Well, and the other thing is, we shared with you that we're coming to you live from our little house on wheels here called the
Yeah.
RV.
Well,
So,
I love it.
we fully expect that next summer we'll be back out your way again, because you're not that far from Princeton, Indiana, where we have a whole team of people who
Well,
very
hey, if the megabus comes anywhere near you, I will jump on a megabus. I'm telling you, that's a cheap way to travel.
Yep, exactly.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
we certainly feel blessed and honored to have made your
Definitely.
acquaintance, and we will be doing some more. We've got to get through this Raleigh City Council meeting on December 3rd. That's our focus at the moment. But once we get through that
Yes.
and start to get a sense of next steps, I mean, who knows? Maybe you're the one we need to help to be able to get some funding in so that we can make that happen.
Well, I'm telling you, all it takes at this point is getting vendors. And for me, because I tried and failed, I wanted to show you all this while I was going through the live, because I have the what they call the term sheet, where
Mhm.
they break down how much everything would cost, and I have the emails to show that, hey, we're giving you the 4th of July weekend. You better zap it up before somebody else gets it. And there are thousands of people in St. Louis during the 4th of July weekend, and the venue is right there next to the arch, but the events for the 4th of July weekend is happening on the arch grounds.
Wow.
So that means having access to that convention center and that dome stadium. That means there will be so many people there to help us break that record. But putting it out there to the community to get the hurry up and get the tickets first, because we really want the people who will benefit from being a part of the Guinness World Record attempt. Because, like I said, it's a fundraiser. The goal is to raise the money to help families with rent or mortgage payments. So $500 increment payments from 3 months, 6 months, 9 months to a year.
Wow.
And with less than $2 million, we can help 650 to maybe 1,000 families.
Mm.
There are other things or so, like T-shirts and all that stuff. But of course, I would have to get Guinness officially involved, and I can speak about the Guinness World Record attempt actually, because I've already done the paperwork, the application. I have my attempt ID number, so they know attempts like mine takes a long time. So I have permission to talk about it. Other than that, if you have not submitted an application and done the proper procedures to talk about a Guinness World Record attempt, you can't. And a lot of people don't even know that. They can shut you down. Yep.
Well,
I
thank
did
you
mine back in 2014.
Thank
Yes.
you again for being with us today, my dear. We've got to run. We've got another conference call to be on here in just a few minutes, but
Okay.
it's been a blessing, and I can't wait to see how we help each other as we go through on this quest to put an end to homelessness.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I might have to take control and go out there and do one of those lives and say, hey, come and check out this person link. Check out this person link. We're looking for more pieces to the puzzle.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll make sure.
We'll be in touch after December the 3rd, and maybe we can, work on planning something together. But I've been telling people about you already, shared your website link. I had a conference call with another young lady named Claudine. I met her on LinkedIn. And you all on LinkedIn?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to try to connect with everyone that's a part of your team on LinkedIn. That'll be another way for us to see who we're connected to and how we can really help each other.
Sounds
It's
good.
a pleasure talking to you both. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a blessed day, my dear.
Yes.